So this is the St. Mary's Distillery. It is the first distillery that Gary had built himself. When I took over as the distillery manager, the whole building was red and white. We transferred over to the same colors as green and white, trying to keep the same transition. Cody had mentioned earlier, 5 years ago, we had transformed this building in here. Used to have a 350 horse fire tube boiler that pretty much took up this entire room. 5 years ago, we installed this 150 horse Clayton steam generator. It used to take me about a week of preparation to be able to get it filled all the way up and on the old system. And it would take me anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours to get a full head of steam before distillation. This system, I can do it in about 15 minutes. So it's very safe. It's kind of, in my opinion, to me, it's kind of dummy proof. It's one of the newest systems. I've been to the warehouse where they try to actually try to melt these things in and make them essentially blow up, and it won't do it. The water that's inside of it will actually put itself out. So I'm a simpleton, so I like to color code everything. So anything that you see that is red is going to be part of is actual steam that's going through there or extremely hot water. Anything that's blue is going to be your cold water feed. So what happens is it comes in off of a well system, off the wall over here. It follows this blue pipe here. It goes into our water softeners, in turn which will go into the big blue tank, which is our preheat tank. So as this thing is firing up and it's warming up, it's also sending steam into the blue tank, which is preheating the water. Well, what that's doing is taking the oxygen out of it, and you don't want to send a whole bunch of cold water into these coiled tubes that are inside of here, because that's what ruins the life of the steam generator at the time. So our water here that we have that comes into this building has a lot of iron and a lot of minerals. We've done a lot of testing with it. So in the corner over here, we have a pre-filter watering system. So we pre-filter water before it goes into our water softeners. And that's pretty much it for in here. Over here on the back, you can see the silver line. That's going to be the steam line. That's going to go through the building. Now with that 350 horse fire tube boiler, we used to pull water from the pond that you guys passed in over here. It would actually go through this building as part of our condensing systems, and then into the other pond. We changed that. That took water away from the baby Melissa and the baby Lavender that we needed for them to survive out in the fields, especially in the months of like August when it gets really hot here. And then right now, so whatever water comes into this building off of the well system is now what is called a closed loop system. That being any water that comes into the distillery will stay into the distillery unless it's evaporated off into the atmosphere. So if you guys will follow me, we'll go through the door that we just walked in. Questions?
How do you soften the water?
How do you soften the water? So this has a bunch of green sand that's inside of it. And I have this black tank over here. I fill it with actual water softener salt. And I just have to monitor that as well. And it'll actually pull from it and add itself into here. It's all electronically set up so that it does it on its own. So.
Thank you.
So hard water actually ruins the pipes.
Right.
So it actually, when you add hot water, the pipe, so if you took a 1-inch pipe, for an example, it actually starts to coat the system, and now you have only a little bit of water that actually goes through it. So you're not getting as much flow as you're supposed to. You're not being as efficient as you could possibly be.
So every farm does that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So almost all the farms now are all on this new system as a steam generator system. So if I'm sick for the day, or if nobody else here can operate it, someone from Highland Flats can come down here and help out, or from Mona, or vice versa. I could go to that farm or to theirs to help out. So, but.
Thank you. So this is the one that you guys took out and.
So there used to be 4 cookers here. before we installed the new steam line. The old steam line, if you look back here, actually came down and followed this underneath of the stairs. It actually followed this line. The problem with that is that was actually kind of hot. And so we raised everything up above so that there's no, for safety issues. And it actually is more efficient that way, having it above our head. Because steam rises, so it actually gets kind of trapped up there. The green box that we have over here, this is our water cooling tower. The silver box on the back is just a holding reservoir. I'll fill that up with hydrosols or cooling water. And there's a big white box that's outside on the corner. That's what actually evaporates. So what this does is it recirculates. It gets pumped up through the 2-inch line into this 4-inch line here, goes all the way down to the end of the building, goes into each of our condensers, which is what these are, and then it fills from the bottom to the top. And the reason for that is to eliminate any air pockets that are in there. So they're completely full, and then it actually comes down the other 4-inch line and outside. So as we're cooking with the steam, and once we get down here to number 1, you'll see that the 90s and everything, we inject the steam from the bottom to the top. And why we're doing that is we're slowly saturating the cooks. That way we're getting full penetration throughout the entire puck of the cooking process. So here at the St. Mary's Farm, we take pride, or I take pride, or the whole team takes pride, I should say. Being old school is what we like to call it. Everything here, the way Gary taught me how to distill, is off of sound, vibrations, all your senses. Smell, I'll smell Passover before I know how much, before it actually passes over. So this year we transferred, it's a little trickier now for me because we transferred everything over to Triclover Fittings. So you look at number 2, this one has plexiglass, number 3 has plexiglass on it. So as I'm injecting steam into the bottom, the steam is being pushed up to the top. There's a screen in there that the puck sits on top of. Gary designed the cooker lids at an angle because if you were just to put a piece of flat, if it was just flat on the top, the steam would rise, but it actually also condensate on the top of it. So when that steam's rolling down this pipe, it's actually kind of rolling. So when you're doing that, it hits that 45, which is forced into the 90 on the top, and it's forced to come down through the center of our condensers. Now the green box that's down there on the corner, I was telling you guys, it goes the hydrosols or the cooling water, the non-contact cooling water, is actually going through each one of these, but it's on the outside of these pipes. And these pipes run the entire length of it. So you guys can see from here that it fills from the bottom to the top. The arrow is not correct. That arrow is how it used to be when it goes from pond to pond. I just haven't got up there to change the arrows. So from that point, so as Passover is getting ready to happen, and every cook is a different temperature, different durations of how long it is, but generally on ours, our cookers are 7,600 liter cookers. They're about 10 feet deep by about 8.5 feet across. So I can usually get Passover in about 20 to 25 minutes. And these will be full pre-filtered water because all the water that comes into the building goes through that water filter that is in our boiler room. So as it's also filling everything in here, I can do the same thing by raising the level. The oil will come down through, which will just, in this sight glass here, just looks like water. And then eventually the oil will rise to the top, but it'll be below the level of this funnel that's inside of here. At that point, what I can do is I can stop the outflow of the water, which in turn will raise the level of the oil until I open it back up, and then it'll lower it back down. Now the level of the water is the same thing that's inside of here all the way across before it hits the outflow over here. One of the new systems that we've installed this year as well is our hydrosol collection system. So as the steam line goes down, this is all naturally sloped. These pipes over here will actually go into this tank, and then from there it'll get filtered through a 5-micron stainless steel filter, and furthermore, if we needed to, into a 1-micron. And then after that, it gets sealed into a stainless steel container. Every batch that I cook, I take a sample off of before I put it in a stainless steel container to be shipped to Spanish Fork or Utah or any of the warehouses down there. The sample actually will go to Highland Flats for now until I figure out and learn how to run the original GC that Gary has, which is in the room behind us here. But each sample gets tested before it gets shipped out. That way you guys have the best product on the market today. So then we'll step into this room here.
Before you guys go in there, I have something that
Sorry.
Josh is being way too humble about our hydrosol collection system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
So with our hydrosol collection system, priority one was not to undo anything Gary had done. So what that means is we did not want to mess with the essential oil that we already knew how to make. So with that, I've already talked to some of you folks about your lighter volatiles and your heavier volatiles and temperatures in which they off-gas, right? Something we found by hooking this up solid, or let me actually point to this one, hooking this one up solid, it's no longer open to air. What that does is we actually now capture all of those lighter volatiles because they don't get a chance to off-gas into the atmosphere. How did we learn that? This year, our Melissa results changed. This was the first year that we've had this system in place, and we had 3 more constituents in our Melissa oil than we had before. That's a huge win. Why? Because we didn't mess with any of the original constituents. We captured more of them. So same thing on the hydrosol side. What was it, Josh, 5 years ago? Whoop. That we tried hooking up 2 separators? So did you guys all see the separator in the basement at Highland Flats that captures more oil that they might miss on the main separation? Josh and I had an idea seeing that maybe we're missing something on the Melissa oil. Maybe we're letting some past us. We don't have the option to put a separator down in our basement because there's not enough room. So what we did is we installed a separator right here, thinking that it would work. We cooked 3 cookers full of Melissa and never made a drop of oil. It didn't work. We made oil, we just couldn't capture the oil because it was too much water weight pushing back on this one separator that the oil was getting stuck back when the funnels came all the way down here. So we changed that so that the oil is not fighting all of that water pressure to get down. And that's why it was so crucial on here that we didn't change our outflow too much. Gary designed that for a reason. You can't let it go by too fast and you can't let it go by too slow. So that's when we designed this, we had to keep those outflows the same to ensure that we're capturing all the essential oil on the outside. As well as not sending essential oil into the hydrosol because we don't want to do that either. Your turn. Go ahead, Josh. Sorry, I had to interrupt you on that one.
You're good. So we'll go into the room over here. So if you notice the floor that's got the different colored tiles that are in there, we tried to match them as close as we could. That over there used to be the raindrop room. We needed a bigger decanting room, and we also added in our lab over here on the other side for our microscopes. That way we can actually do soil analysis and look and kind of break down the oils as well, and then be able to hook it up to the TVs. Every batch of oil that I do take gets ran and pre-filtered through a non-bleach coffee filter, which this is equivalent to a 20 micron filter. And then every one of those, and you'll have the similar setup in this one, it's just a much finer one. We'll actually use gravity that's in here. So from this point over here, once I collect all of the oil, it'll come through here. I'll run it all through the stainless steel container, and you'll have water and oil. And then if any cellulose, which I don't know if you guys know what that is, that's with the floral plants, lavender and melissa, you'll get more of the cellulose, which is the cell wall or the cell tissue of the plant itself. So as that steam is being directly hitting it, it actually will shred it and come through. And it kind of looks like snot. It's just, it hasn't made itself all the way into an oil, but I'll be able to actually filter that stuff out as well. And then that way I just have pure oil. I can filter all the water and then have pure oil above that. And this just does it on a much finer scale. I'll actually have a mason jar that's underneath of here to be able to collect everything. And then from that point, everything gets the little samples I'll double seal them. I have a vacuum sealer here that I will put them in a vacuum bag, ship them up there. That way, if the oil does leak out of the bottle, it's still, you can still be able to test it inside of that sample bag, that as long as it's not open to air. So
in Highland Flats, they're using the new filter, the stainless steel filter.
yeah, we have for the hydrosols.
No, the oils.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's news to me. I don't know anything about that.
because that was new to me
Did you
as
see
well.
the filter?
Yes.
Is it round and about that long?
Yes.
That's for the hydrosol system. I don't think they're using that for the oils.
Yeah, it was for the oil. Yes.
The coffee filter, because I was,
Yeah.
expecting to see coffee filters, but I said, and they didn't actually have this set up in that room anymore. And it has like a really fine filter in the middle of the cylinder, and it's stainless steel.
Look like this.
No.
No,
No, it's a screen.
yeah,
They're screening it, not filtering it. So
Okay.
that piece that Michael's putting on there actually is a screen inside of it. So it's a
Okay.
stainless steel screen.
oh, okay, so the screen.
Filter.
Yes.
It's just not, is it 5 micron? Did he explain that? Did
He
tell you
didn't,
what
he
micron?
didn't say how many micron that was
I
though.
bet it's about the same as a coffee filter. I bet it's about 20 to 50.
He did say, okay. Well, he did say that was the same as the coffee filter. It's just faster because he has a pump.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're dealing with such higher volumes.
Oh,
So I don't know if Josh told you this, I don't want to step on his toes about our yields
yeah.
for our plant material.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
when you're talking to Melissa only being 0.6, that's almost nothing
Yeah,
per cook.
I'm gonna have to go visit Michael.
Versus the blue spruce putting off 15
Yeah.
kilos per cook.
Wow.
That's a ton of oil to handle in one cook process.
Oh, so yeah, can you repeat how much oil we get from one Melissa cook?
You didn't go over that?
Not yet, not yet.
I thought you got that. I must have skipped
No,
it.
no worries. So I was asked the question earlier today, and I said that it would be on the distillery tour, and I always make sure it is. Why is the Melissa so expensive? We always get asked the question of why the Melissa is so expensive. As most of you know, I believe it is still the second most expensive oil that Young Living sells outside of Rose, correct? So the reason being, you guys have learned today how we treat our Melissa plants and how we treat our lavender plants, correct? The only thing we didn't discuss is how Melissa is a very, very high-class woman, and if you don't treat her right, she's going to let you know about it. Did Gary say those very things, Joanne? Yes, he did. In this distillery. That's why I say that, because I watched the video. Gary believed that Melissa needed to be treated right. The crew has to have a good attitude. Everything has to be perfect. Quick comparison. 7,600 liters of raw plant material comes out to be about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds of raw material. That 5,000 pounds of lavender is going to produce anywhere between 8 and 12 kilos of essential oil. That's 8 to 12 whole kilos. That same 5,000 pounds of raw material in a cooker, our record cook of Melissa, record cook, 1.2 kilos of oil. That is our record. We were ecstatic. I can remember the look on Josh's face when we came in here and weighed the 1.2, because we had never seen that much Melissa oil in a separator, ever. Our average cook on Melissa is 0.6. So nothing changes in how we take care of the plants, other than we have to make sure to treat the Melissa right. The year we had the record cook, 33 Melissa cooks total for the whole farm. We had about 115 acres of Melissa planted. It took us about 7 days from start to finish of the harvest. Josh was averaging 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.3, 0.4, 0.6. We worked all week. We showed her the attention that she deserved. We got that record cook on Saturday. We had started on Monday. We got the record cook on Saturday. We were exhausted. We decided to take Sunday off. The weather didn't change. The fields didn't move locations. They stayed where they were at. We ignored her for 1 day. We took Sunday off and ignored her. We came back Monday. The best we could get was 0.2. So tell me the plants don't know what's going on, right? That is no joke, guys. That is the reality of the 2018 Melissa harvest, was that right there. 33 cooks, and the whole time we showed her more attention, she kept giving us more. And we ignored her for 1 day. And she said, to hell with you. I'm done. Yep.
You really cannot explain that. You really cannot.
No, Yep. Yep, I have a video and I can actually play it for you guys. I feel comfortable doing that. I have a recording of Gary standing right here.
When you say attention, what kind of attention did you pay?
Positive attention. We were out there making sure that everything was perfect for the harvest for a week.
Watering them?
They were already watered. The whole crew was in the field for a week before the harvest. Are we ready? We're doing a bricks test every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. We're talking to the plants. The fields crew is out there tending to them gingerly by their hand, pulling the grass out. And those yields just continue to increase. But as soon as we ignored her, she was done. Yep. Huh?
Hello.
What do you talk to? It's a secret. You gotta lean down and whisper sweet nothings in its ear. Yeah. I actually had a group tell me that I needed to put on a tuxedo and go out and do a candlelit dinner the night before we start the harvester and see if that helps. Okay, Josh, all yours again.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for in here. Outside of the distillery here, did you go over the seed beds, Cody? Did you go over the seed beds outside?
Just talked about them, didn't show them.
Okay, yeah, let's go outside and we'll go take a look at the seed beds. That Izzy and his crew has gone through. This whole bag is filled. This one right here is filled with these little seeds like this.
Does it smell good?
Right? It still has lavender smell to it. So that's one of the telltale signs. Well, in the spring, we'll actually go through and collect the seeds out of them. Today we distilled a little bit of this, but so yeah. And then yeah, there's definitely more here. I'm not going to be shy about this. But did Cody show you how to extract the seeds out of this? And squeeze them and kind of roll it out of it. Someone want before? Yep, here.
So this is the seed?
This is the actual seed. This is the bulb that's off of it. So the easiest way I like to do is just kind of add with the. So there's the seed.
Oh my goodness.
And they come out. There's another one. And they're the ones that come out of the inside of these little pods. Now the Melissa seeds are even smaller. So
do you hand extract the seeds?
No, we actually will hang them up upside down in the greenhouses, and then the seeds will actually kind of fall out because that's what they naturally do outside. When the snow hits them, it snows and it comes, just packs them down, or the wind blows. It actually will do that. But for us, when we collect them, it's hard to be able to do that. That's why we lay all the plastic down inside the greenhouses, and then the seeds will come down, and then we just got to get a little broom and sweep them up, and then that way we can put them into a mason jar and have them cleaned up. Right? Yeah. Yeah. You don't do it on a windy day. So Melissa in here. So these are all Melissa that will actually get in here. One of the telltale signs for me, this is one of the biggest seed plots right here. It's just this little section for the Melissa. It'll actually get as tall as this building, this window here. Sometimes I've seen it about halfway up. But that's because of all the dew that comes off the top of this building directly right here. And then the white tin from the sun actually heats it up before it heats everything else out in the field. And then being boxed in right here, the wind can't dry it out. So it gets all that moisture, all that heat. So this will actually test before we actually go out and start testing the fields out there. There's different ones. There's a lavender one that we have over here on the back side. And then we have more Melissa over here. So
How long does it take for it to grow like this tall? You said that
it'll be I'd say 6 months if you went off January. Because usually this time of the year, we're still under snow. We still have 3 feet of snow here. But the last couple of years, it's been kind of weird winters here. So we'll get a bunch of snow and then it'll rain and it'll wash it all off. So then the plants have been suffering. So like last year, we suffered a little bit because in June we had a frost, and if you've noticed, there's mountains all the way around us here, so that cold air got trapped down in here and froze the plants from growing in the middle of June, and so that suffered. So our plants are only about yay high. when we started harvesting them, when normally they're waist high on me. So when you're walking through them. So Mother Nature's a great and terrible business partner because you just don't know what you're going to get from her. So.
You just stepping on it, wouldn't you kill her?
No.
You dancing with
Yep. That's exactly what I do. Yep. So I we'll have to use our imagination because I don't think we have any more of the trailers that way.
No.
Oh.
I need to explain to them how
Oh.
Gary used to have to back up his trailer right here.
There's the cord for it still.
Yes, and try to unload the trailer to fill this in this weather, you know, so they can imagine it.
Yeah. You got her. So, oh, I still got this thing. Cool. So, testing. There. You flipped them light switches right there? I want to see if those are the ones for up here. Nothing? I must have the breaker off. That's all right. There's light switches up here too, but they're not flipping anything on, so I'm gonna have to figure out which ones those are.
As opposed to Highland Flats' 18,000 liters.
You better write that down.
Our cookers in St. Mary's, there's the microphone, that's the one I needed. Our cookers in St. Mary's are 7,600 liters by volume. The ones at Highland Flats are 18,000 liters by volume. So what that equates to in poundage is we're holding about 5,000 pounds of plant material. That puts Highland Flats between 15,000 and 20,000 pounds of plant material. I do not know the answer to that. I don't know the capacity of Northern Lights' kettles.
Ask me. What was
Yeah. From this side?
Ooh. 呢個係咪 Melissa 啊？好黑啊，冇燈啊。呢邊係 lavender，兩邊都係 lavender。Oh my gosh,
this smells so good.
哇，好香啊！
Oh my gosh.